So this is my first video to create quesadillas, and we have the ingredients here. We have rosarita, refried beans, some chicken breast, red kidney beans. Then we have two types of cheese. We have the Daya cheese, the Fresco cheese, and I'm only going to use portions of these, by the way. Then the wraps, rather than using a quesadilla wrap or a burrito wrap, I'm going to use just a sandwich style wrap. And then we have Goya seasoning and lemon and lime. We have some additional spices that we'll use here. We have pepper. I'll bring in first smoked paprika, sweet paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, Mexican oregano, and cinnamon. And these spices will all go into the bean mixture. Now for the second set of spices that will go onto the chicken, we will have this set of spices. We will have chipotle chili seasoning, red pepper, chili powder, and regular pepper as well. So these are the ingredients and then the spices that I'll be using today. And you can use many different spices, but this is just a choice that I've made for today. It varies day by day what spices I use here. Okay, so next I'm going to take the chicken and drain it, and take the refried beans and drain any liquid that may be in that can as well. And we want the mixture inside of the quesadilla to be as dry as possible. With the Goya beans, we will rinse those under cold water until until it runs clear. For example, I see some foam. You just want to get any of the packing water to be removed. Have the beans as fresh as possible. Fresh tasting as possible. So the first thing that I will do is to season the beans. So let's do that now, like this. And we will take the first set of beans and we'll dump them in like this, put it on the side. And then we'll take the second set of beans, which I have added here in a colander and rinsed until clear. I'll add those in as well. And now for spices, I will then add the spices that I mentioned before. First is sweet paprika. Sweet! The second is smoked paprika. Oh, smoky. Third, onion powder. Yeah, onion powder. Now, of course, if this were a weekend recipe, we'd be using real onions and real garlic. But I'm just showing you how this can be done quickly with canned ingredients and spices. This is Mexican oregano, and I'm just going to put just a little bit in. There we go. Not much. And then we'll use cinnamon as well. And this is not cinnamon with sugar, it's just regular cinnamon, ground cinnamon. And then finally, I'll add in some black pepper. And at this point, we stir. And rather than stirring, I will use a folding technique here so that we'll get the spices all the way through the beans here. one very important ingredient I forgot to add in here. Sofrito, Goya sofrito. The sofrito here will enable getting a very deep flavor that would be hard to get out of just this canned mixture. And again, if this were a weekend recipe, rather than using canned sofrito, I would make my own sofrito by using peppers, onions, tomatoes, and then either roasting them or sauteing them. So I will then mix the sofrito, fold it in. Just like the other ingredients, we want to make sure it's all the way through. Okay, we are good to go with the bean mixture. Now we're going to bring this aside and now bring in the container for chicken. And with the chicken we will rinse and make sure there is as little liquid as possible with the chicken. I'll now add that canned chicken into the bowl here. That's good. And with the canned chicken, we want to bring it some lively flavor, so I will add lime, a bit of lime, a little bit more, and a little bit of the lemon. Not too much, but again, just enough to be able to smell that beautiful smell and to bring the flavor alive. I will also add a little bit of sofrito into this as well. And now we are ready to, spices. Chili 3000, or your chili powder, whatever chili powder you have. Again, not too much, just a little bit. I'm going to use chipotle chili pepper. And the purpose of using the different chilies and the different flavors of pepper is to then intensify the flavors. We have red pepper here. And then finally I will put in some black pepper. No salt is needed with the beans or the chicken. It will already have salty flavors in it, I'm sure. And we'll break this up and again kind of stir and fold in seasonings and flavor there. And if for some reason you think you got too much liquid in, there is a really easy quick fix. And I'll show you an example of a quick fix here. We will use breadcrumbs. Just add a little bit of breadcrumbs in if we think we got too much liquid in. And I don't think I did bad here, but just showing the technique to rescue should you wind up having too much liquid in the chicken or in the beans. And then just fold this. And the breadcrumbs will absorb any of the flavor and moisture, and nobody will even know. It'll be our secret, there's breadcrumbs in here. Okay. At this point, we are set and ready to begin making the quesadillas. So we will bring in a quarter sheet pan here, like this, and then I'll add tinfoil on top of it. And the tinfoil will do several things. It will enable for an easier cleanup. It will enable removing the quesadillas once they're cooked very easily from the pan. And if we play our cards right, it could even help us with being able to wrap them up in the refrigerator, provided we get no tears. So next, I'll open the wraps. I have 4 wraps here. So I'm just going to put each one onto the tray. Get this in a little bit more and put it in the stove. Like this. And then next I will scoop some bean mixture out onto each one. Probably about a half a cup, a third to a half a cup, right around that much. We're going to have lots of ingredients left over here, but you know what? They can be used for a bowl type sandwich, I mean a bowl type salad, or making additional quesadillas on another day, like later in the week, or just eaten by themselves because they're quite yummy just by themselves. We don't want too much because too much will mean it'll be too thick and too hard to handle later on. But we want enough so that we have good coverage and we have some beans in every bite. So I can see that I need a little bit more on the one in the back, so I will do that. Put a little bit more beans there. A little bit more beans here. And then again, this is just all by eye, but we have to remember, like with the spices, when putting the beans down, less is more. We don't want them leaking out when we put them into the oven. Like that. A little bit more here. Okay, I think we've got it. Like that, like that. Oh, a little bit more here. Just a little bit more right there. Next, we will add chicken onto this. Oh, I could smell the flavors already. They smell good. And this is just a weekday recipe. The weekend recipe is going to be even better because everything is done from scratch with the exception of the wrap. Could do that from scratch too, but probably just use the wraps I have. Right there. And we want to try to get this so that every bite has some chicken and bean mixture in it as much as we can. Like that. No tomato or anything liquidy, just we want kind of dry ingredients if we can, as much as possible. There we go. Next, we will put cheese on. I will put some of the Daya cheese on first. And folks are wondering about the nutrition here. This is very good. It's lower in fat. And of course, this is dairy-free. I didn't mention that. So folks that are concerned about dairy-free, this is it. And I'll put a little bit of cheese on each. Just like with the other ingredients, not too much, but enough so that we have coverage. And when making your quesadillas, you can substitute cheese that you would like. And another popular cheese, of course, is Monterey Jack or cheddar cheese, some type of queso, lots of different options. So this is it for this cheese. And I also did get today, I got some Fresco cheese, and this cheese is farmer's cheese. So it's very basic, very mild, very plain tasting, but if there's any bite in the taste of this these quesadillas, this will remove the bite or the sharp flavor or any bitterness. It will be dampened through this addition of this type of cheese. And this type of cheese is crumbly, so I will take and remove a piece like this, and then I will just crumble small pieces on. And again, we don't need much, but we want some If you really like intense flavor, a terrific thing to do is, rather than using the farmer's cheese here, you can use blue cheese. Blue cheese is a really good substitute here, or a really good option. Or you could use feta cheese as well. And although this quesadilla is Mexican in origin, the flavors from around the world all fit into these wraps, so I wouldn't worry about it being European and Mexican, for example. Okay, so now at this point we are ready to fold these quesadillas and then add them into the oven. So I will take this one first. Fold it. Fold it. Actually, these wraps are a little bit big, but they'll work. And push down with a flat hand on each. Whoop! We had a blowout there. These are thin. Get in there, bean. Get in there. Pull this back a little bit. Bring this one on a little bit more. And now we are ready for the oven. Okay, the quesadillas are now ready from the oven, and we will cool them off by using a cooling rack. So put the cooling rack here. And then get our quesadillas, which look like that. And we can see it's browned a little bit up here, and the edges have browned a little bit, but they're nice and soft. And they're not super hot, but they're pretty warm. And again, the idea is to meld everything together, melt the cheese. That's the primary thing here. So what I'm going to do is take the tin foil, hold the tray, and leave these here to cool for a while. Press down, make sure that they're all on the cooling rack properly. Good. Back once they're cooled. Okay, now that we have allowed them to cool, time to cut one open and try it out. So I will move this first. Bring a cutting board in. Grab a knife. I'll take this first one here. Oops. Push it together, and again, it should be dry, so we want it to be pushed together. I'll cut. 1, 2. Yummy, and it's not wet on the bottom, although it did break through this thin shell. But when we look at the other one,